pull it together, and I don't know why. It's Design Sips, where we drink wine and talk about design. I'm Sandra Funk. Welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, I'm so in danger of lighting myself on fire with this candle and these sleeves. Just so you know. Watch me. Okay?
That's a Design Sips no-no.
That's a total no-no. Hi, y'all. Oops, wait, hold on.
Tell us what we're drinking.
Hump day.
Yeah.
Guys, remember we did this every week? Crazy. All right, we are drinking Rayburn Russian River Valley Chardonnay from 2017. And I gotta tell you, we need more of this because it is really good. Did you have a sip
So
yet?
good.
Very good. Everyone?
And we have a special birthday that we're celebrating this week.
We sure
Tell us
are.
whose birthday it is.
It's House of Funk's 14th birthday. Yay! We're excited.
Show us the love.
Yes.
You're feeling our birthday.
Give us some hearts because we made it. That's right. We've been here a long time and we're not going anywhere. Haha.
We're still teenagers.
Yeah, we are. We're in our teen years.
We're getting out of the awkward phase though.
Yeah,
Almost
we are.
to the woods.
We're pretty girls now.
Yeah, right? You know it. Get our braces off. We're feeling good.
Yeah. So
right.
before we dive in, we are just back, been at High Point where we were on so many amazing panels meeting a lot of our fans out there. So, thank you for everyone that we met and chatted with and all the awesome brands that we, connected with.
So incredible. Thank you all of you who said, wait, are you Sandra Funk? And told me that you like drinking with me. That makes my heart happy. And thank you so much. I'm going to make sure the team is sharing in the love. Creative Touch Rugs for hosting one of our panels. Surya, Universal. We did a Market Suite tour where we went all over the Market Suites and saw all the amazing vendors there. Thank you all of you who welcomed our tour Julian Chichester we also spoke at. Thank you, Tomas. Thank you all of you who welcomed us into your showroom, fed the people, had seating, had all the audiovisual stuff. We were so just humbled and appreciative and happy to be there. So I hope you had a great market. I hope you've recovered. We're finally feeling like we're caught up. And we're ready to dive into some business.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so today we're talking full service process, such a meaty topic, so much good stuff to dig into. So excited to see where the convo takes us. But tell us first, how did you, why did you even feel like you needed to put these systems in place? Why tackle that?
Ooh, why not tackle that? So I'm a natural systems person. I love it. And it is, for me, it's all about refining and making sure to become more and more efficient. So putting the systems in place was absolutely necessary when I started to grow. So when I went from a sole proprietor doing it myself, I was naturally documenting things, trying to make myself, I'm a to-do list or a checklist kind of a person, but I'm not a person who's gonna just write a to-do list for the day on a blank sheet of paper, start fresh and keep going. I'm a person who's going to recognize that there's some pattern in that and make myself a little template in Excel or make myself a little checklist template in, I was a Franklin Covey girl. I'm sure you're not surprised. So make myself a little checklist for each project, and it's grown and it's kind of has a life of its own. So now we have a very robust and very detailed project process template for every single project we do. It skews a little bit if it's renovation or decoration, but it's basically everything that we need to do to make that project sing so nothing falls through the cracks. And when I started to grow, it was absolutely necessary because I wanted to make sure that everything was done exactly how I would have done it if I had done it myself.
Amazing. Cheers to that.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah. And tell us, after you sip, but tell us how that's essentially what the standard is, right? So we can remind everyone to join our trade page if they're not already on the list.
Yes, so that is exactly what the standard is. So we're launching the interior design standard in April of 2020, and it is essentially that tried and true, refined, and efficient system to run every single design project. And to layer it on and make it even more fun, we're giving you a copy of our contract because it's related to our design process. We're giving you a copy of our vendor agreement because it's related to our design process. We're giving you a copy of our fee calculator because it's integral to our design process. So when we really sat down and looked at this, we decided that it wasn't one piece or the other, and it's not something that we could deliver just one section of, because it's all threaded together, because it's the concept that of how we do everything. Every little step informs the next step, and every bit of how you set up that relationship with your clients or your vendors informs the whole flow. So
yeah, and where can they find that info?
the whole kit and caboodle. Houseoffunk.com/trade. That is, there's a great place there to get on the newsletter list. We share tons and tons of incredible downloadable content, great tips and tricks, and if you haven't been on the list, we will catch you up on everything you've missed thus far, because again, we feel like you need kind of the all-encompassing to really have it sing and work for you. So check it out.
Yeah, cool.
We'll see you there.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we're going to dive into why you phase your full service projects, and I'd love to also ask the audience, like, how many designers are phasing their projects. But tell us how you used to go down the rabbit hole of design and then, get so far outside the budget.
Oh, totally. So you know the scenario, right? You walk into a new client's home and you're all excited, you're kicking off the project, and you have all these incredible ideas of what this room is going to be. So before you even really understand what's going on in the client's head, what their budget is or what their timelines are, you're thinking about built-ins and de Gournay wallpaper murals and, doing some crazy lighting installation. And you might spend time, which is money, and resources gathering up enough information to share that idea with the client before you actually know what they need or want or are capable of doing, money and time-wise. So phasing the process is about putting the client in the driver's seat and getting inside of their head first before you spend any time with all of your amazing fountain of ideas that all of us designers are. It's putting them in the driver's seat and getting all that information out of them in a systematic and clear way. And I will tell you, this is a lengthy design questionnaire that I put our clients through, and sometimes I am embarrassed by how deep into their psyche I'm trying to get. But I'm telling you, we just did one the other day with a client, and she was smiling very sweetly. You're asking them questions about themselves, and you're not being intrusive. You're not asking for their routing number or their age, but you are asking them about who they are. And people like to talk about themselves. They like to tell you the story of how they met if they're a couple. They like to tell you what they studied and where they studied. They want to tell you their hopes and dreams or their hobbies or interests. I mean, who doesn't want to be asked those really special questions and tell their story? And when they find out that you plan on using that information to make their design even more unique and special and more reflective of them, trust me, they're not annoyed to spend 40 minutes talking about themselves with you so that the design looks like themselves when it's done.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Okay, we're having a little network connectivity. All right.
We love the internet.
Yep, love the internet. Okay.
I know. So let me know if you can in the comments. Are you a phased person? Are you super systematic in your design projects? I'd love to hear.
Yeah. And so then in relation to phasing, you tell the story about how you initially thought all design projects were different, and then you realized the aesthetics were different, but the back-end structure.
Oh wait, let's just pause.
Okay.
We're pausing.
I don't know if anyone can
Technical
hear us.
difficulties? Okay.
You're live.
Okay, you're live. Yoga screen.
If you haven't seen the Grinch yoga video, please Google it right now, because I've been known to channel that when having technical.
Yeah, we should put it on our
We
Instagram
so will.
story, yes.
Tell me when you're having technical difficulties if this doesn't make you feel just a little bit better. I sometimes scare the team when I'm in my office and I'm just like, you'll see. Google it. Okay.
Hi. So we were asking, please comment if you phase your design projects. Would really love to know how many of you are phasing versus not.
Yeah.
And then
being systematic.
And then we were talking about how you initially thought all design projects were different.
Yes. Okay. So back in the day when I was like a one-woman show doing my thing, I thought every project was so completely unique, right? Sometimes I'm doing a kitchen that's just a kitchen. Sometimes I'm doing a kitchen that's a great room. Sometimes it's a decorate. Sometimes it's a gut. Sometimes it's a renovate. Sometimes we're just doing the cabinet fronts, right? You can see how you could convince yourself that every design project is completely unique and needs a completely fresh set of eyes and a blank sheet of paper every time. But this is not true, okay? Because the client experience can be the exact same no matter what the project entails. So what that means to me is the intake is the same, the design questionnaire is the same, the onboarding and the letting them know what to expect is the same, the timeline is the same for a design project for us, but we do vary in construction, of course. If we're building a house from scratch versus gutting one room, of course that timeline does vary, but setting a timeline and communicating a timeline and updating it as we go and sticking to it does not change. Okay, so no more waking up in the middle of the night wondering if you asked for a CFA on that fabric order. No more waking up in the middle of the night wondering if you already wrote that thank you note or didn't write that thank you note, but you can't remember and it either went out in the mail or it didn't, but you don't have a record of it. Well, now I get an Asana that says it's time to write the thank you note for meeting the new client. When I complete it, I check complete. So if I ever wonder if I did something or didn't do something, I have a record of everything. So, systematizing my projects completely transformed my business and allowed me to grow quickly. So it allowed me not only to bring on an employee, but to bring on multiple employees and have them dive in and hit the ground running.
Awesome. We have a question. How do you communicate your process to clients so that they don't get confused?
So I communicate my process with my clients at the initial consultation. I walk them through a presentation that we put together. What is that in? Google Sheets I flip through?
Canva we designed.
Canva we designed it. So it's basically a walkthrough of my design process, of course with beautiful photos of my designs in the background. And I walk them through that whole process with this beautiful kind of presentation in person, looking them in the eye, talking out loud. That I feel is more memorable to people than it's in my contract. It's in my onboarding email, it's in my FAQs on my website. It is said to them over and over and over again, and then once they do sign on, it's in the onboarding email as a reminder of exactly, in words what was said in that presentation. We also say it to them again in that kickoff meeting, like now we're gonna do this, now we're gonna do that, now we're gonna do this. And then, just to make sure that they're paying attention, the schedule for the project and the outline of the project process is at the bottom of every single weekly email that the client gets. So we schedule the entire project at the beginning, and then every single week on a Friday they get an email, every open client with us, and they get the updated calendar, right? So they will see all, we drop a meeting every time we finish a meeting, but they will see everything that's to come, current ETA if we're at the install phase, the next scheduled meetings if we're still in the design phase. All that information is available to them and constantly updated on a weekly communication basis.
Wow. Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Good communication.
And that is about setting it up once and then just updating it. I don't start from scratch and start writing that email every week. Obviously, it's a template that I just constantly update.
Yep. Amen. All right. Okay. So I want to walk us through our design phases, but sort of high level, so we can kind of dig into some of the meat. So we have
too many words.
We have conceptual design phase, which is what kicks off our full service process. So tell me a little bit about like what that phase looks like, what they're getting, what that means for you guys on the design end.
Sure. So the first phase is all about setting the aesthetic direction, the layout, and the budget for the project. So we're getting the floor plan right. That could mean a renovation, an addition, or a build from scratch. Whatever it is, we're giving them enough information about the layout and the flow of the project to get their approval. We are giving them the aesthetic direction. Again, depends on what it is. If it's tile samples and some direction on the plumbing finishes, or if it's fabric samples and a feature wallpaper, whatever it is, to make sure that we're on track and we've gotten them to the level that we can now become their advocate in their design choices. And then it's setting that budget. So the conceptual design phase is all about getting real numbers to what they really need to make their design function for them and look beautiful and reflect them with their personality.
Cool. And one topic that I know designers love to talk with you about is the trade day component of our conceptual. Can we dig in a little bit on that?
Yes, I loved Kimberly Seldon's trade day that she talks about in her books. It's all about getting all the trades on site early in the project to talk about feasibility, obviously to get ballpark figures and quotes, and also to kick the tires and make sure that they see it in person. So we've done so many of these back in the day, and we do not allow ourselves to do it anymore where, well, I have enough information, I can just email the vendor. It's a Roman shade. I'll just email the vendor the overall size, and like, there's no question mark here. It's just so obvious. And then we get on site and it turns out our ceiling mounted Roman shade is going into a concrete ceiling, and it's going to cost double because they need to go buy this crazy drill bit, or it cannot be done because this is a New York City apartment and we're not allowed to drill into the ceiling. So I don't care what you think you know, and I don't care how clear cut and simple you think it's going to be. Get your trades on site, have them tell you if something's not possible, and give them or give you the appropriate quote to make the actual thing happen. Same thing, putting sconces on an outside wall, putting a shower niche in. Like, now I have a lot of information on these things 14 years later, but back in the day I've got a million stories about, well, I thought, but we needed to check.
We have a question. How do you determine the budget at conceptual design?
So determining the budget at conceptual design is based on either past project information. So we have a per square foot average of what it costs to furnish or renovate a room. So we put that budget in at the very beginning of the project, even at the signing the agreement level. And then we are testing and double checking that number against real information. So real quotes from vendors on anything that's custom. And going back to a project of a similar echelon and scope and pulling, like, we know our average sofa cost is X, and we know a 9x12 rug is going to cost Z, Y, whatever. So it's about going through and having really good fact-based historical numbers to predict what it's going to cost. And we do this time and time again. We can come in really dead on. Obviously, there's some outliers like art. You could spend $200 or $20,000 on art. So we talk about art as a wild card. We put a placeholder in, based on the design questionnaire, we put a placeholder in for what we think we want to do for art, but we all know that one is really variable.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so then in our detailed design phase, so that is the next phase after conceptual. Tell me a little bit about what that looks like on the client end and what that really means for you guys on the design end.
Detailed design, we are like armed and ready. We are so excited when we have aesthetic direction approved, budget approved, and layout approved. This is where the magic happens. Now we are free to go into the design, like, utopia of, we know exactly where we need to come in budget-wise, we know exactly the direction, we know the layout, we can just dream and scheme now. So we go in through and pick every single item, every single finish, every single fabric, every single detail, get all those quotes, put all those proposals together, and by the time we see the client, we have all of what it takes to put together a presentation so they completely understand what their space is going to look like, as well as complete proposals that are so tight that they can be turned into purchase orders without blinking. That's how tight we are in that meeting. We go back in with our trades on anything now that we know that we are approved and we are good to go, and we get our formal quotes at that point. We do 100% upfront on all purchases, 50% on the trades, and that is golden. We're off and running.
And you have a great line that I love that you say, like, the reason we do detailed design is the clients get exhausted, spend more than they think they can, push their budgets to the limit, and then they leave that phase for later, which means you can't photo the job. So
oh yes, okay, so important. Thank you, Rania, for pointing out these important details. It is so important to design the entire room and to propose the entire room and to think about interior design as a total entity, a complete project, because we all know that if you get that first layer in, and then you get that second layer in, and then you get that third layer in, and then you still need 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, it is so unlikely that you will get to layer 9 before the client runs out of energy or money. So plan the whole room. And if the client can only bite off a few rooms at a time, because you're going to do the whole kit and caboodle down to art, final accessories, literally every bulb and dimmer and candlestick in the candlestick, then cut the scope and do it complete. Because what I found over the years, back in the day, when I would just get all the lighting in, and then would just get all the carpet in, and then we'd just get all the window treatments in, once you get those rooms functional, it's really hard to take it from functional to fantastic, right? And that's where we live.
Yeah.
Because anyone can get it functional. Our glory, our magic is in past functional to fabulous.
Yeah.
Cheers
to that. And cheers to fabulous.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers, y'all.
And on that same note, I mean, can you share like pricing it as a whole, because people just flip out if the fabric is $150 a yard and the pillows are $600, but if the sofa's, blank all in.
Yes. So a lot of lessons learned here. So it is hard to see value in a per yard cost of fabric or a per yard cost of wallpaper, or roll cost of wallpaper. So what you want to really try to do is capture those things into groups and groupings, right? So it might be an end table with the beautiful accessories on it. Or it might be the console with the 2 lamps and all the accessories that go with it. It's the sofa with the fabric, with the pillows, with the upgraded cushions, with the stain treatment, and delivery and tax, all together. No hidden costs later, no bills coming later on, and no thinking that you're going to sell them $1,500 worth of pillows after they buy the sofa, because there's no chance anyone's spending $1,500 on pillows. If it's all part of having a completely tricked out sofa that comes with 4 pillows and a throw, that's a lot more palatable, right? And we all understand those individual components, what they cost and why, but it's really hard to understand as a client.
Yeah. No, I think it's great advice. And then what about like freight and tax? Because you talk a lot to designers about that and how you incorporate that and talk to clients about it.
So we're really careful to make sure that we have freight and tax 100% in the proposal at the time that they sign it. No surprises, no, oh, you didn't know that freight was going to be XYZ percentage. We build it right in on the front end. We take that money up front. And what we do is we base it on historic averages. We know that we know what our percentage of freight is, and so that's the percentage of freight that we put in. We've been tracking that data and double checking that data and managing that data for 14 years. So it's not inaccurate. We track all the freight, the inbound, the receiver, the insurance, the white glove delivery, all of it combined, and it's all charged out at the beginning. And then I don't end up with the nickel and diming of my clients by sending the inbound freight, the receiver charge, and the delivery charge all separate, because those bills aren't big, but they add up to a big number. And when they come in drips and drabs, it feels really naggy. It feels like they're not being taken care of. So we flip the switch, we take care of them up front. Yes, it's a number that they have to swallow and we have to budget for and we have to plan for, but it goes down a lot smoother if it's in their, you're putting the ball in their court. It's in their control. They can decide if they want to buy that sofa with that freight and tax included or not. You can't tell them that they are going to owe freight and tax later and then not explain to them what that's going to cost. Yeah. That'll blow up in your face.
Yeah. I think another tip that you share that's really great is in this phase, just reminding designers to be like super meticulous and careful. One transposed number is like a big expense.
Yes.
So having like a second set of eyes, whether you're a one woman show or.
Yes. So we make sure that every single proposal is written and completed thoroughly by one person. They get the quote, they get the number, they review the number, they know the conversations that they've had, everything should be in writing. Quotes have to come back in writing as well. And then when that's all done, all of that documentation goes to another human being on our team who then takes the time to thoroughly go through and give a second set of eyes to those proposals. One transposed number can be cutting into very expensive, fabulous fabric that isn't the right fabric and upholstering the sofa and shipping it across the country. inbound freight, receiver at the warehouse, insurance, white glove delivery, all of those costs, all of it have to be spent again to make it right if you transpose one number. So CFAs, cutting of the fabric on every purchase order so that, you know, it's a double check when the window treatment person receives it, that they can make sure, because you might not transpose the number, but somebody else might. And then, you know, it's time then to convince them that they should pay to have it redone because they were the ones that, you still have to convince them. That's still time and follow-up, and that's still disappointing your client because now you have to wait another 10 weeks for that window treatment or whatever it is. Just making it as tight as you can possibly make it, and knowing that things still go wrong. It's, you know, humans are involved, as they like to say, but locking it down as tight as you can, documenting what that means, and then making sure you follow your process. Follow your process. If you're going to put together a great process, you have to then follow it.
Yes.
I cannot tell you the value of those CFAs and those little cuttings included when we send out the pillows or the whatever, because we've had people call and say it's not what you sent me, and I'm like, oh, thank God you caught that before you cut.
Yeah. Thank God you caught that before you cut,
Right?
man.
Don't you cut that expensive fabric.
All right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're out of detailed design, and then we roll into our purchasing and execution phase. Tell me, you know, about getting sign off on proposal, payment in full, and then we're off to the races.
Yes, so nothing happens until we have both a signed or click to approve proposal and payment in full. At that time, that triggers us to place all the orders. So again, we're selling whole rooms here. We're not doing little piecemeal bits because we're looking at this whole thing as rooms. We're also set up for the most efficient execution of work when we do an entire room. So we order the entire room at the same time. That way we've grouped our, you know, where we spend a lot of time and attention. We place those orders, and then we have to follow up and stay on top of our vendors. Communication is key. The vendors that we stick with are the vendors that are responsive to us and who stand by their word. And we have incredible long-term relationships with incredible vendors, and we love you. But you don't have to mess up, you know, once, okay, twice. Yeah. What is it? On me, 3 times, you're out. I don't know, whatever. There's some sort of thing. But let me tell you what.
Just made it up. Write it in.
Right.
Speak it real.
You guys speak it true. You guys figure it out. But like, you don't have to mess up too many times to end up on my blacklist. That's what I'm trying to say.
And we got a comment that we totally agree with, which is measure twice, cut once, right?
That's exactly it.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All right. No, but seriously, the whole thing about 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. You don't have to mess up too many times to end up on my blacklist because there's so many vendors out there, and there's so many incredible tradespeople and makers, and customer service and standing behind your product and standing behind your word is absolutely number one. I will not falter on that with my clients, and therefore I will not let my vendors falter when it to me, right?
Yeah.
So if they don't stand behind their stuff, I can't stand behind my stuff.
Absolutely. Let's say hello to some new friends
Hello,
joining.
friends.
We're talking full service process, big and meaty. So
Huge topic. We need more wine.
yeah, purchasing and execution. So talk about like our project wrap process, because you know we've talked to designers and it's like there's little bits and bobs still hanging. The client's
Yes.
calling. We don't
Yes.
run it like that.
No, we're super motivated. We start the process knowing there will be a punch list. We start the process explaining that there will be a punch list. We start the process explaining that this industry is one which we have goods coming from all over the country, if not the world, depending. And they put your beautiful, cared for, handmade, custom goods into the best packaging that they can get their hands on, into the crate, into the carton, whatever, and then they hand it to a truck driver. And I love you, truck drivers. I am a tire heiress that didn't come to fruition. You are amazing, but you don't have control over potholes, people swerving in front of you, just life, right?
Yeah.
Life happens. So your stuff is getting into a truck and it's making its way, or a boat, or whatever, and it's making its way to you. It is very likely that it will get jostled, okay? And it's very likely that it will get a little something wrong with a percentage, not everything, but a percentage of the product that are coming from all over the country and our world to gather and make your home gorgeous are likely to be damaged. And that industry average it can be around 30%. So it can seem really disheartening on install day when you have that much of what you've been excited and waiting for damaged, but it's real. Now, we mitigate a ton of that by sending it to a receiver first to be inspected and repackaged and then brought in white glove delivery. But they still have to get it in, get it out of the truck, get it into the truck, get it to the home, get it up the stairs. You know, sometimes they have to walk it across the roof and put it through a window. I'm just saying,
Yep.
things have happened. And mostly miracles happen, but sometimes something goes wrong. And the MO is that we're with you all the way. We're not going anywhere. We've been here for 14 years. We're planning on staying a lot longer. And we will see it through. We know how to fix these things because we've done it so often. We make a punch list. We stay on it. And we are with you until you're content.
Yeah.
Until it's wrapped.
We have some good questions. So what about the vendor who is great at the craft but sucks at the paperwork? Do you stay with them or replace?
I replace. Sorry. I have no time for that. Great at their craft, bad at paperwork means get a partner that's great at the paperwork. Right? Raise your if you're that great at the craft, raise your prices, get a partner. You need someone who can do the paperwork. And I've said this to craftsmen, contractors, you name it. You're great at the craft, you are not responsive, you're not timely with your quotes, or you're just gone missing. It's a shame, but get a partner.
Yeah.
Get a partner. We all need to be balanced out, right? We all have our superpower, and we need someone else who's got a different superpower who can balance us.
Absolutely. And then what do you do if the furniture is delayed?
Well, that happens a lot, right? So what we start with is when we place orders, about 2 weeks later, we hound our vendors for acknowledgement and an initial ETA. That initial ETA can be one of two things, depending on the vendor. It can be super conservative and really long, and then the next time they update us, it's gonna get more realistic. Or it can be super optimistic and completely inaccurate, and then the next time they update us, it shifts out. So what we try to do is we try to get the order acknowledgement so we know that they got it and they understand it and everything is clear. And then the next time we follow up, that's probably the first time that we start communicating to the client that what the general lead time is going to look like. We don't promise the client anything related to lead times until we get that information from our vendors. It's impossible for me to know if every single vendor that I use is details, right? Some close for August, some are shut down for 2 weeks at the holidays, some don't take a break, some are going through a merger I don't even know about yet until I'm placing the order. Like, you never know until you get your acknowledgement and you get your information from them, and then we set a timeline with our clients. So our timeline that we set at the very beginning of the project is what we can control. And then we leave open that the purchasing execution phase runs average 3 to 4 months for decor and 6 to 18 months for renovation, depending.
Yeah. And then do you have any language for when clients say, I'm so bummed to hear about this delay? You know, how do you
Yes,
how do
of
you
course.
address that?
Yeah, sure. So, we really try to give not only the like little bit further in ETA that gives them time to kind of give us better direction, but also we are trying to give a little buffer to anything that we have heard from a vendor. So we know that things tend to slip a couple of weeks, so we'll give a little buffer. And then we also know there's travel time, there's receiver time, there's scheduling time on our end, because we need to make sure that our clients are comfortable with the install date, we are available to be there to oversee, and our receiver is available to deliver. So we need to give a little space in the ETA for all that scheduling as well. So we try to build in a buffer so that we don't have to have a whole lot of like, just kidding, whatever.
Yeah.
We never speak about dates, we speak about generalities, right? We talk about early August, late December. Anytime I hear late December, I try to say early January. So if you heard late December from me, it's probably I heard early December, and I just know December's crazy. over the years, being aware of the time of year and knowing that there's a huge industry-wide Thanksgiving deadline and there's a huge industry-wide Christmas deadline, so you need to give yourself more space and more flexibility. We ask at the very beginning, are there any deadlines we should know about? And inevitably, they pop up along the way.
Yep. We had some great questions while you're sipping. So one, love this question. What is your superpower?
Oh, ha ha ha. Okay, I think systems and processes are like my real superpower. My design-specific superpower is functional layouts. I love the problem solving of looking at a space and figuring out how it can be best utilized layout-wise. So as much as I am the higher level design person in our firm, I will not let go of having that first chance to scribble on a plan and dream and scheme about what this like layout could be. I haven't met a wall I didn't want to take out, and just improve flow.
Yeah. And I'd love designers comment your superpower.
Yeah, I would love to
just
hear.
share the love. We have a really nice comment and from Style by Mimi. She says, "Thank you so much for always sharing your brilliance with us."
Aww. Cheers to you.
Cheers. And then hello to Peter from the Designer CPA.
Hello,
Talk
Peter.
about superpower.
Oh my gosh, what a superpower you are. We love Peter. If you don't know him yet, Google Peter, Designer CPA. Talk about, like, I'm a finance major who, was a business process consultant and came to design, so hence my dorkiness. But Peter can bring the knowledge about, like, all those details of how you should be running and how to get, like, super crazy good. But you don't have to worry about it. You just hire him and he takes care of it. Ding, ding.
Cheers. Okay, we had some good questions about, like, you've delivered all this beautiful stuff. Like, how do you tell your clients to take care of it? I'd also love to hear from designers, like, what's their project wrap process?
Yes, how do you wrap it up? All right, so I used to just wrap it up by feeling like I got fired because it was over. I seriously felt like negativity after every project because I was like, they don't want to work with me anymore. Even though I completed the mission and we were done. I don't know, weird girl. But anyway, so what we do for Project Wrap is we make it more of a formal project where we just show a lot of gratitude to them that we have accomplished that punch list, we have finished every detail, we confirm with them that we're good, they're good, we're good, everything is cool. We let them know we're not going anywhere, that we are the long-term person who they can count on and reach out to if they need anything related to anything that they've done with us, renovation, decoration, design. And then we send them a beautiful thank you note. If we've professionally photographed the job, we will send them a book including their beautiful photos. And yes, there's a few of you whose book is in process.
Yes.
And we stay in touch.
Yeah.
I think the most important part is to stay in touch. Are there other people that are amazing like you that we should be working with, or are you ready to do that next phase? Yeah.
Yeah, and did you speak to the blog post that we update with all the, okay. That's why I'm here.
Yes, hi Rania.
Because we have this,
Ship Rania is like, we have a blog post. I wrote it.
And we
should talk about it. All right, so we have this incredible blog post about caring for your home. We give it to our clients both at the time that we start installation execution, because the minute anything in their home starts to become new, it needs to be cared for. So the floors get refinished, the walls get painted, whatever it is. At the beginning of that phase, it's triggered in our system to send that email. It has a link to that blog post. So as we go through life and we learn more and more and more and more and more about how to care for all these amazing surfaces and details, we keep adding to that blog post, and we never have to update the old clients who have that link. They're always going to have the latest and greatest if they save that link, which we highly recommend they do, or the email. And then we also send it again at the end of the project, and we basically, there's like a cute moment where it's our project site and then it becomes their home again. And they don't realize this, but we've been feeling very possessive about their home this whole time because it was our project site. But we emotionally give it back to them and send them that blog post again saying, now it's yours to take care of. Here's the best of the best of how all those vendors that have been involved in putting in the most beautiful glass, the most beautiful floors, the most beautiful fabrics, lighting, finishes, all of it. Here's how they recommend you care for it. So it's not that we're experts in that, it's that we have access to experts and we've gathered that information over the years.
Cheers.
There's a lot of words in this
There
episode.
are. I'm sorry, this is a
Does anyone want to take a nap and just drink quietly?
We're almost there, Sandra. We're almost there.
What if the internet got paused again and we just were silent for a few minutes? Wouldn't that be incredible?
Okay, and we're about to dive into my favorite part, but we have a great question. It's such a deep question about who and or what inspires your designing of interior spaces.
Who and or what? Okay, so really, I wish I was like the love child of Bobby McAlpine and Clodagh.
Yep, that's it. You kind of are.
Whoops, sorry Bobby and Clodagh, you didn't know it, but I just can't get enough of Bobby McAlpine's soulful architecture and his like constant emotion forward design. It is every single thing he posts, I find myself saving, and then I'm like, and then I look up at the tag of whose account it is, and I'm like, of course it's McAlpine.
Yeah.
Like I'm almost eye-rolling myself at this point. It's okay though. The love is real. And then Clodagh, who I've met several times, and Bobby, find me. Clodagh,
We're channeling you. We're manifesting of Bobby finding.
Tag Bobby.
Yeah, tag Bobby if you know.
Okay, so Clodagh, who I've met numerous times, she is a local in my region. She is so gracious. She opens up her space to other designers regularly for events. She's done book signings and speaking engagements. I love you. I love your soul and the way that you bring that forward. I love the meaning that you have in everything. I love the way that it's so eco-friendly and conscious. There's a lot of spirituality built into your design that may or may not be important to the clients or the audience, but I see it and I just resonate with it. I think it's just incredible. So could you imagine the love child of Clodagh and Bobby McAlpine? I'm just saying.
Yeah. It's called funk.
I wish. I don't think their love child was this sparkly, but then I have to bring a little of myself to it.
All right, we have a great question from Kelsey Alley. How do you handle communication with the client? You are made aware of a delay in installation and delivery.
So we let them know the honest to God truth, right? We have a buffer built in at the beginning, and we really try to. We're also not giving them the ETA per item. We're giving them the ETA for the whole room because we're delivering a full room turnkey. So we are looking at the longest lead time item, and then we are setting the installation date about a half a month after that longest lead time item once we've followed up on every item. So this gives us play, right? Because our longest lead time item, if that's the one that slips, we need to communicate it. But if anything else slips, it's probably not going to move the needle, right? Because we do turnkey installs. We want to disrupt their life as few times as possible, which means gather up all the product at the insured, climate-controlled, careful warehouse, and then install it all at one time as much as possible.
Cheers.
It's a really good way to handle things and give yourself buffer on top of that longest lead item. It can be a little hard to swallow the first time they hear that, but you want to give them the conservative view, not the optimistic view, every day, all day.
Yeah.
Now we cheers.
Now we
I
cheers.
have more words.
Yes.
Soon we'll
all
nap.
right.
We drink wine and then we take a nap.
Soon you're napping, Sandra, but we're in the
Not
home
napping.
stretch, and this
No,
is my favorite.
There's all kinds of stuff on the
The
calendar. after
project
this.
management and payment structure. I'm going to make you do it. I'm going to make you do the client timeline.
Okay. Excuse me, late in the day. There are so many words.
So many words.
Okay.
Can someone get my phone? I need to get this on camera. And then there's 3 cameras.
There's 3 cameras. We need more.
There might be a bathroom break. 'Cause that's how long this
Okay.
is.
We're in the home stretch, I promise.
Home
Last
stretch.
thing.
Home
You
stretch.
talk about
Home
structured
stretch.
payments for maximum joy for you and the clients. So important.
Do you guys like my sparkly earrings? I thought they were like a little extra today, but then again, I thought, why not? I'm wearing neon orange, basically, in honor of Thanksgiving.
Okay, so we had so much good
Just like,
response.
wrap it up. Focus.
You want to make it to the end of this marathon? Okay, we're gonna do it. We had so much
Okay.
good response. Business of home when we were sharing like
Project structure.
for joy, and we had so many designers say like yes, joy.
Okay, It's
So
about
tell
joy.
us. Tell us about the payments, how you make it joyful.
Wait, so is she doing it?
Okay.
Or is this another question?
No, we're ready.
Is she doing it? I better bring it, apparently. Okay, so here's my story. First, I start with joy. Okay, you did not start this business to be curled up in a small ball rocking under your desk because you have to send out another time bill or another bill of any kind, or that humongous freight bill at the end of the project. You started this business because you love design, you love helping people make their homes incredible, and you wanted to have your own flexible vision of the world, right? So you make your business work for you. You make it fabulous. If something's not working and you're unhappy, change it. It's your business, right? I'm talking to you. So here's the deal. It's not safe to ask a client for money when they are emotionally distressed. And clients are emotionally distressed when you have taken all of their money to purchase the items that are going to go into their home, gutted their home, moved them into the attic or basement, and continue to, have weekly site meetings where it looks like nothing's happening because they're doing all the wiring and the plumbing. You know this, right? You've been there. Not safe. So when is a safe time to send an invoice? So we have flipped the switch. We have looked at the psychology and the emotional timeline of a client project, and it goes a little something like this. Okay, so the client decides they need interior design. The client convinces their husband that they need interior design, or vice versa. And you are finally called in. You are Mecca, you are going to solve the problems, right? So they hire you and they are on a high. They are so excited. They have made a decision, they have made a commitment, you're hired, okay? That is when you ask for half of your design fee. Half of my design fee will kick off this project. Excellent. You go through the phase of getting all their information, getting to know them, blah, blah, blah. Then you ask for the other half of your design fee to kick off the conceptual design meeting. The first time that you're going to show them all of your brilliance with their design concept and layout and budget. So you are paid in full for your design fee before you hand off the intellectual property of your design. Because once you give it to them, you can't get it back. It's ideas, people, okay? So even if you don't let them take the boards or the fabric or whatever, you can't take back the idea of that wall gets taken out or that dining room, that living room should be flipped or whatever the brilliance is that you're bringing to this game. Okay, get paid first, then give the brilliance. Deal? Okay, so then you're paid for design in full when you do the first presentation. You go through the first presentation, the client's thrilled, they're so excited, you get me, I get you, there might be a revision, that's fine. But then they find out it's another 8 weeks until they're gonna get the next meeting, the deeper layer where they get all the detailed design, right? But it's okay, we're running, we're rolling. We're not asking for money. We're done, we're good to go. So then at the detailed design meeting, you show them every fabric, every finish, every detail, every nuance of what you're bringing into their life. That is when you ask for 100% with freight and tax of all of those purchases that they cannot wait to have in their home in full at that time. Their action kicks off your purchasing. The ball is entirely in their court. They are completely in charge of this process. You aren't purchasing and then sending them a bill later. It's up to them, right? Give them back their power. It is incredible what happens when you empower your clients to be in charge of this process. They do the purchasing. You place the orders. By the way, this is where emotional rock bottom in a design project hits. You've taken 100% up front of all that product and then you gut their house and trash the place. This down here at the bottom is not the time to send a time bill. That would be straight crazy. Don't do it. It's not safe. This is why I pulled over and went, it's flat fee or I'm out of this industry. I cannot do it for one more minute. You've gutted their house, you've taken all their money, and you're sending a bill for your time? No, it doesn't go over well. So avoid that. Get paid for your design ideas up front and your products at the front end. So then, this is a hard time emotionally, but then all of a sudden, coming up, rising from the ashes is your design vision, and it's incredible. It better be, or we can't talk. So, all of it's coming to fruition. It looks amazing. It's install day. The furniture is there. The rugs are there. The window treatments are in. The art is going up. The candles are lit. The music is on. Right? And everyone is thrilled. And you know the best part? There's no balance due.
Show me the money.
The money was shown. It's just the happy. And you know what happens when there's no balance due and there's a lot of happy? They start telling their friends. Okay? Yay. There's a punch list. I get it. There's a punch list. We already talked about it. We know it's there. Okay, we fix it. And then you know what happens? The beach house, the Aspen house.
I can't connect to the Wi-Fi network. You might want to check the connection settings in the Google Home app.
Anyway, you get the next project.
Yeah.
Siri.
Hey Google, your microphone's off. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Okay, cheers
to
you
the
made
emotional
it.
roller
To
coaster.
the emotional roller coaster.
I'm
and
so
you finishing the marathon.
I'm so verbose today. I apologize. There's a lot of words.
There's a lot of words in full service.
So there was some clarity questions.
Yeah.
What if the client wants to see the concept before they pay for the design fee balance?
Well, then you say no, because this is your business and you, in your contract, have outlined that you will be paid in full for your design
I
fee.
can't connect to the Wi-Fi network. You might want
Can
to
you
check
throw
the
Google
connection
out the
settings
window?
in the Google Home app.
Siri, unplug her.
When Google tries to crash your design
I gotta tell you, I was at the Future of Home conference and I got this incredible Google Home lady. But she's fabulous. And thank you, Business of Home, for running Future of Home, and thank you, Google, for Google lady. Sometimes she gets confused. I think I have like iteration 1.
She lacks the human heart and human brain. She's just a robot. Let's remember that.
Anyway, we love her. We love her. She's fabulous. She doesn't know Siri yet. We haven't introduced her. But Alexa is pissed. She doesn't want one more woman coming into the house. I may have to give her a male voice.
Okay.
Ron, this lady.
Falling apart. All right.
Did I answer the last question or did I get
I don't know. I don't
No one knows. Ask it again. Ask it again if you need more.
Hold on. We got another good question. Wait, where did it go?
Right here.
Okay.
Here, the team's out of wine.
Yeah. How many schedule update meetings do you have on a typical full house build?
Schedule update meetings. So we don't do meetings on the schedule update, but we include that in our weekly email. So every single week you're getting an update on the schedule. And we also do, whenever we're doing any kind of renovation, construction, build from scratch, anything, we do a weekly site meeting where our team and the builder or contractor are on site together, and the client is always invited. So we also do that weekly email, but that in-person meeting is really important. It's like all eyeballs. It's very unlikely that the general contractor is going to go a week without moving the project forward and stand there and look you in the eye and tell you, I got busy with other stuff. Which, in hindsight, if you've called the contractor to say what happened this week, blah, 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 it is probable that that will happen if you're not totally managing that relationship from the very beginning.
All right, I think I have a good one to end on. So how do you address requests like, I can't pay you until I see the work? They found you, they called you.
Yes.
They saw your portfolio.
I love Kate O'Hara and Lori Paranjape's words of wisdom, which is, you called me. So in the beginning, there was a contract, okay? But you can't just put it in your contract, slide it across the table, have them sign it and give you that deposit check, and assume that they know what the heck you're talking about. You need to put it in your presentation or the words that you use or the script that you memorized. You need to say it and look them in the eyes. You need to put it in your contract, and then you need to put it in your onboarding email, and then you need to reiterate it in your weekly email schedule. Payment is due for the full design prior to the first presentation. That's it. And then you know what you do if the payment has not been made by the time the first presentation is due? You reschedule. Yeah. You have to have a set. You have to say, I haven't received payment. The presentation is scheduled for tomorrow. We are now rescheduling until we receive payment.
Yeah.
It's your business. Don't you dare give away your intellectual capital without payment. You will never, if it's the kind of person who needs to see it first, it's the kind of person that won't pay you if they didn't like it. Don't you do it.
Yep. We have a question from Susan on Facebook. How do you find a good warehouse and delivery company for the back end, especially as a young business with smaller budgets?
So I think one of the best tips that I have is to go to your local design center, or if you don't have a local, call the nearest design center that you know and talk to the salespeople in the design center and ask them, where are you shipping your product? What warehouses are you shipping to over and over and over again? That is how you start your short list, and then you need to go interview those warehouses. And that interview might be sending them something that's coming to your house, and the interview process might be seeing them in action. That's how I interview all of my contractors, vendor, everybody. I will try you painting something tiny in the corner of my house as a trial run, and I won't necessarily point out that it's my house, but I'll see your communication style, I'll see your responsiveness, I'll get your price point under control, I'll understand the meat of it will come through.
Sorry, the questions keep rolling in. A quick one that's fun. What's your favorite design phase?
Oh, for sure, conceptual. I love getting to know the client, and I love trying to get my head around who they are so that we can design on their behalf. And then, in line with my superpower, I cannot wait to do that first floor plan. I can't get the as-is plans into CAD fast enough, printed in scale, so I can start scribbling all over them. It is my favorite part.
Cheers. That's a good note to end on. Your favorite part. There's so much
Cheers.
juiciness to full service.
I apologize for how verbose I have been. I have been talking for hours now. I can feel it, and I hope you got something out of this rant of an Orange Girls day. And by the way, you should get this wine because it's delicious, and you should also follow us at houseoffunk.com trade for all the input and the details. And I will see you next month at Design Sips.
Cheers. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, House of Funk. You're 14.
Happy birthday.
Not all grown up yet.